Welcome and Happy New Year. I do hope that you all have your 2019 goals in place and the support action items to make sure you make those goals. And you're starting to habitually do things like writing every person who contacts you regarding a job in your applicant call-in log. That you're interviewing every single person like you're going to hire them so they will want to work for you and tell their friends they are so sad they did not get the job. I hope you're onboarding every person like they're going to work out for the rest of their lives so that they will always feel very safe in your company. And I hope that you're giving them accurate work orders so after you take all this time to train them that they don't do something wrong because the work order didn't tell them not to clean the glass on the second floor, and they certainly weren't going to miss anything if they were following the process of your cleaning company. So, today I'm going to give you the fifth gift of habitual habits that I believe will bring your company to all of its goals in 2019. And that is my favorite training tool, which is, no, you would think it would be the core DVDs, but it really is not. It is the new employee evaluation form, or the retraining evaluation form. This is a remarkable, useful tool that I stole from Shirley Perlinsky. Actually, she gave it to me to use with her permission, who has S&G Cleaning in New Jersey, a very talented lady. And it has, of course, been perfected by Tamara and Royce Ard of My Amazing Maids, which they truly are. And everything they touch just gets a little bit better. So I do have this evaluation form in both English and Spanish. And if you would like a copy of it, please either call me at 512-964-9750 or email me at sltinberg@yahoo.com. So, why is this one of my favorite tools? Basically because it fulfills one of the major themes of mine for 2019. As a matter of fact, my only theme, which is communications. I do believe, after visiting 41 offices, that it is most of the time communications that underlies most of the problems in an office. It's the majority of the time a misunderstanding, so it could easily be solved if someone would just talk about it. And I believe that this evaluation form is something you can use to uncover many things in your office if utilized correctly. It is something you should use every day for 10 days when you have a new employee. So at the end or conclusion of each day, whoever trained them that day, was responsible for working with them in their training, checking their work, will be the person administering the evaluation form. So it might start with your field operations manager if they do the training, or your trainer. It might start with the owner if you pass them off to the supervisor. You do it at the end of each day, whoever spent the majority of that day with that new trainee. But when you no longer spend time with them and you pass them off to the supervisor, it is now the supervisor's responsibility to, at the end of each day, evaluate that new employee. This offers them the ability, an easy way to give feedback to the employee. Because whether you're a manager or you're a supervisor or you're a consultant, it's very hard to tell somebody they didn't do a good job all day long. And some things are better kept until the end of the day. Some things need to be said during the day as they're going. But it's very important that you do tell a person at the end of the day how they did. It is far better than sending them home thinking, well, I wonder if they liked me or they didn't like me, if they thought I did good or didn't do good. This is the tool that will give you the venue to tell a person exactly how they did and to evaluate them throughout the day. The key to success of this tool is how you implement the tool. I must say that I visited 41 offices. My first 15, I had a number of cleaners crying in the owner's offices. Never lost a cleaner, so everything was fine. But I feel obligated to tell a cleaner where they were not exactly easy to work with during the day, or how they could change things in order to be easier to work with and therefore achieve more in their careers. And sometimes it was very hard for these people to take, and I had people crying, cleaners crying in offices. I can laugh about it and say they didn't take the feedback well, they shot the messenger, all of those things. But what was key was for me to figure out how I could deliver this message without hurting their feelings. And I figured it out with this tool, this venue. I was at an office in one of the offices, and the field manager had just been promoted. So she was all excited, had just done her interviewing and made her first choice, with which I didn't agree, nor did the owner, and I just thought this is a disaster. But she hired her, and we trained her, and we took her out in the field that afternoon, and oh my gosh, it was a disaster. What I was concerned about was giving this individual a review, because everything we told her to do in the afternoon, she argued with, and I mean, she wasn't an old cleaner being retrained. She was brand new and had an attitude about how things should be done. She didn't want to touch soap scum. It was a nightmare. But long story short, what happened was I decided at that point in time to go back to something we used to use in the corporate world, and I know is used today, and that's called a 360 review, where everybody reviewed this person, including themselves. So I explained it to them, and I said to this individual, you rank yourself and we'll rank you. There are 9 categories, and you score yourself from 0 being unacceptable to 5 being outstanding. And we began, and the first thing that came up was appearance. And she, of course, as most people do, because most people with very little self-confidence, which many of your employees, especially your new cleaners, do not have self-confidence, will rank themselves as a 3 or 4. And then, of course, you ask them, well, what could you do better? And they go, well, maybe I should have started the day with makeup. To which you would respond, why would you put makeup on? It's going to be gone by the end of the first house anyway. And they, of course, give themselves the 3, and we go around the room and maybe go to the operations manager next and say, what would you give them? And they go, oh, I'd give them a 5. They looked great. Now, this is when they started the day, not at the conclusion of the day. But why would you put makeup on again? Your hair is great, your uniform is perfect, you have the right shoes on, you're 5. Go around the room, everybody gives them a 5. It now builds them the confidence that they need to go forward in this review, where they might start getting 4s or 3s or 2s or 1s or 0s. But you gave them self-confidence. You started with an attaboy. So the next thing you come to is attitude. This is great for very secure, retrained people who have an attitude about learning things, or this gal who now has her attitude she thought was a 5, and we're like, well, I mean, remember when we asked you to go? And she goes, oh yeah, you're right. So if you're detailed and you go through it one at a time, she was forced to take a look at how difficult it was to deal with her attitude. Next is punctuality, and punctuality is something that I can't give feedback on because I just got into this office. But it is the only category of the 9 that we go backwards all the way to how is their punctuality in general, not just today. All the other categories relate to today only. Instructions is the next category, which really requires reading the definition of instructions by our terms, which are written on the evaluation form. When each person comes into the room, before you even begin the evaluation, you should give a blank form to everyone in that room. The field operations manager, their direct report, will be the person who should be filling out the form with the numbers given on each individual category for this person. Everybody else will just have a blank form in front of them, including the cleaner, so they can read what this says themselves. I have the form in English and Spanish. It is very important, if they speak Spanish, that this evaluation is done in Spanish. So the instructions, or the definition for instructions, is complies with and obeys advice given by managers, trainers, and supervisor. Did they comply with what you told them to do? Did they obey it and do it right away? Cooperation. The definition of this is the process of working together to the same end, especially ready to comply with requests. This is, again, an area where they might have thought they did a really great job, they were very cooperative, and you say to them, you know how many times I had to ask you to please just listen for a moment and will you explain to you why we are doing it this way? You are not especially ready to comply with us until we began to go through each item. Job knowledge or methods is an employee's understanding of the specific methods and procedures of cleaning. How well did they follow the procedure? Did they start at the door each time they dusted? Did they do the high dusting with the baseboards at the same time? Did they use the two processes around the room? Did they bypass things and not clean them as they went? Did they slide by a picture and go for the piece of furniture when the picture came first? How well did they understand the specific methods? And last in this category is, of course, speed. Did they meet the standards required for the job for that day? Chances are they will not if you're teaching them a new process, because a new process takes longer. If you are retraining, speed should not be an issue. But if it's the first time they're seeing this, it will take longer, and you need to let them know that it is not okay to take that long every time they're cleaning. Because it's a new process does not mean it's going to take longer. It should mean within 3 days it's going to be faster. And in many offices that I visit, people were able to shave as much as 15 minutes off of a kitchen once we got out of their way and left them follow the process without us being hovering over them. So you then take the 9 categories, you add them up, you divide them by 9, and that gives them their score. Most people get at least a very good their first day, and actually that makes them feel great. They are now walking out of your office on the end of their first day going, gosh, they think I'm very good, and feeling good about themselves rather than thinking, I've gotten a lot of negative feedback today, I wonder what they think of me. Perhaps because the job is very hard and they probably really don't like me, I will not go back tomorrow. They walk out there feeling very good about themselves, there's a very good chance they'll be back tomorrow. Again, you will do this at the conclusion of every day for 10 days, or whoever is responsible for that person will do it at the conclusion of each day. And you will do it each time you retrain an old employee. So the real question is, if it's a new employee, how and when do you determine when they're just not going to make it? This evaluation form helps you do that a lot. If they have 3 or more 2s on this evaluation form, and by the end of 10 days they have not been able to get those 3 2s above that level in 3 categories, I believe you cannot keep them longer. Because they probably have a 5 in attitude, a 5 in appearance, a 5 in everything, or you wouldn't want to keep them there. But they probably have 2s in speed, quality, and following process, and that's the key. If they don't have your process in 10 days, you have to cut them loose. And this form will tell you when to do that. And you know what? They'll expect it because they know, and you should tell them that if they don't improve in something every single day for 10 days, they will not be able to work there anymore. So what's the downside to this form? Number 1, it's very hard to find the time to do it. And it's very important that you do it. If I'm doing an office with 31 people I'm trying to bring up in 5 days in one area, there's no way I'm going to have time to do these evaluation forms at the end of each day because I'm training 4 or 5 people a day. They have to be small apartments. It's like downtown Hoboken, New York, big cities. But it's true, even if I'm training 16 to 20, it's very hard to fit in that many reviews. So what's important? That you do these reviews sometime within 5 days of having trained this person. But how in the world are you going to remember which person did what? Which person it was that constantly put the bottle on the cabinet instead of in the loop, and who's the person who constantly had a feather duster and a towel in each hand while they were cleaning? You will not remember. You must take notes while you are training this person. And that's another great thing about this tool. You have to be engaged with that cleaner. You cannot run off talking to a client or talking to the other cleaners or checking the work in another room to see whether or not it satisfies you. You need to be doing what you need to be doing and what you were hired and what your job is for that day, which is train that new employee so you don't have to do it again tomorrow. In order to do that, you need to be with them. And then you can take the notes. And when it comes time to do that review, it won't be a problem, because when they say, what do you mean I didn't follow methods, you can bring up examples because they're in your notes. So, please try these. Utilize this. Again, if you would like copies of them, let me know if you want English, Spanish, or both. Email me at sltinberg@yahoo.com or give me a call at 512-964-9750. I guarantee you these things will change your world. When I go to offices, it is one of the key light bulbs that owners and managers say go off when they watch me do these evaluations and what we can get these people to realize and the change in them the next day. So good luck. I look forward to seeing you next time when we're going to discuss periodic tasks. I do believe that periodic tasks are the difference between 100 and 500 repeat clients. They are the difference between a client staying with you for 6 months or the rest of their lives. So please join us. And until then, Happy New Year. I hope you reach all your goals in 2019. And may you live in your dreams, not your dreams live in you.